Olá, leitores do jornal Diário de São Paulo, sejam todos muito bem-vindos. Eu sou o Tielo Emerson e começamos agora mais uma live entrevista aqui no canal do jornal no YouTube e na página do Diário no Facebook. Antes, aviso a todos vocês que o jornal Diário de São Paulo está nas bancas. Se você curte a versão impressa, procure na banca mais próxima. O pessoal da redação fazendo um trabalho com muita dedicação para entregar um conteúdo de muita qualidade para você. Aliás, conteúdo de muita qualidade nós temos também no site spdiario.com.br. Você pode conferir todos os dias, tem atualizações várias vezes no mesmo dia. E temos esse canal aqui onde trazemos as live entrevistas para falar com gente interessante, o pessoal que vem aqui compartilhar suas experiências. Temos as lives com os artistas, lançamos essa modalidade de entrevista aqui no canal do Jornal Diário de São Paulo, tem sido muito bem aceita. Já parabenizo a direção por apostar nesse projeto. E hoje a entrevista tem tudo para ser muito interessante. Eu vou falar com um dos maiores vocalistas da atualidade. O nome dele é Björn Strid. Eu vou passar a falar inglês com ele, tá, pessoal? Se vocês estão aí com o inglês em dia e for possível acompanhar, peço que vocês compreendam que a legenda a gente vai lançar depois, beleza? Para quem precisa acompanhar o vídeo legendado, depois a gente providencia isso, mas agora, para manter esse formato da live, eu vou falando com ele em inglês, ok? Vou passar aqui a falar com ele e vou falar em inglês. Hi, Mr. Björn Strid.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Pretty good, and thanks for having me. This is very cool.
Great. I'd like to start talking about the Night Flight Orchestra new album entitled Aromantics 2. We just released it on September 3rd. Is it possible to know what the audience's response has been?
Well, so far it's been incredible, really. The press is loving it, and I'm getting a lot of private messages from people every day now who are just blown away by the new album, and they say that it's even better than the first one. They didn't think that we were gonna top Aromantic 1, but some people are saying that we actually did. So it's really interesting times for sure, and we've been working really hard on this album during this weird time, and people are also saying it's a very uplifting album, and it's exactly what we need right now. So I could not be more thrilled. So it's very cool.
Great. I'm very glad to talk to you. One of the greatest vocalists of this time. It's a great time to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
And Björn, what's the main difference can you point for us in relation to the previous album?
Yeah.
This album, Aromantics 2, the previous album, Aromantics.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been working even more maybe with the keyboards and creating sort of like a soundtrack feel to it, and even working even more in making our sound more cinematic in general, and we started this band because we wanted to create a soundtrack of being in motion, and I think we really succeeded with this album. When you listen to this album, it takes you somewhere else, and it's full of escapism, and I think that's sort of what we need right now in these weird times, and I think it just has a pretty unique sound to it, and I think we even have different music styles on the same album, and it still works. It still sounds like the Night Flight Orchestra. So I think we've, more than ever created our own sort of trademark on our sound. It sounds very special.
Okay, great. And the songs Changes, White Jeans, and Burn For Me are singles of the new album. Why choose these songs?
It's always really tough, to pick singles, and we usually, also talk to the label, what they think, because we're so deep into it. We live and breathe this music for such a long time, and it's very intense. And you think exactly what the singles are, but within the band we think very differently when it comes to picking the singles. So this time we actually left it to the label to pick it, you know, and I think they did a good job. So and people seem to really like the singles too.
Yeah, and there are great videos for the
Yeah.
songs. Yeah, what do you think about those videos?
Well, to begin with, I mean, you can definitely tell if you watch the videos, you can tell that we had so much fun recording them, you know, and we wanted to create something very special, you know, and I think that's what's so fun about this band, that there's really no limits to what you can do, you know, and coming from the metal world, you sometimes feel a little bit, you know, you feel that there's sort of limitations, but with this band, it's like if somebody say like, oh, let's record a video at the hairdresser, it's like, yes, of course we're gonna do that. So it's, you know, it's all over the place, you know. And I think when you watch our videos, you know, there's a sailing video, there's a video with drag queens and corgis, and there's what else is there? And then we're in a flight hangar as well with really cool airplanes and stuff. So it's so much fun. We're having so much fun recording these videos, and especially I think Burn for Me was a fantastic video to record. You know, we got together, all of us, and it was looking pretty good for a while. You know, we took the tests and everything, and the corona was not as strong as it is again. You know, and this was, I think, in May. And we got together this, and we sort of wanted to picture how it would look when this is all over and people sort of go out in the streets and dance, you know, and like a celebration. So that's what we wanted to create with that video, and I think we really succeeded. We had so much fun, and we gotten so much response from people, like, you know, saying thank you for releasing that song and that video. That's exactly what I needed. It put a smile on my face, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Quite interesting. And Björn, especially about the video for White Jeans, is it correct to say that there is a message of freedom, of respect, uh, especially for
Absolutely.
especially to the community LGBT?
Mm,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you can definitely say that it's a tribute, and I think it's tribute to people, you know, to you know, really be who they are and not to be afraid, and about its respect, you know, and I came up with the idea because I have this friend who's starting in the video. His name is Frederick Lexforce, and he's been doing a lot of musicals, a lot of theater, and also like films. He's also created sort of a funny character on television that, you know, became really popular through the Sweden's Got Talent, you know, the equivalent of whatever they have in America and I guess the world over. And so he's a good friend of mine, and I just pictured him being a drag queen in the video, and I wanted to be a tribute. I wanted to be fun, but also keep the balance. You know, it's not like we're making fun of anything. I think it's just a tribute to people, you know, to not be afraid to be to be themselves. You know, and so that's what we did, and I think it's a really beautiful story. Even though it's very funny, you can laugh. It's also a very beautiful story. It's this old man who's realizing, what have I done with my life? You know, I used to cross dress. You know, I used to go out as a woman. You know, and he gave up. You know, because the times were not allowing him to do that. You know, and he feels like now's the time. You know, I'm not too old for this. I'm gonna go out in the streets and be proud. And you see the neighbors waving to him and looking all surprised, and he's just strutting in the streets. So it's a beautiful story, and we gotten a lot of good response for that one as well. You know, it's a great song and a very cool video, and it's actually my dog that's in the video as well. It's a corgi. I don't know if you know about the breed corgi. It's yeah, so it's that was a one take, so she did really well in the video as well.
okay, great. It's a great message for me. Heavy
Yeah,
metal and rock and roll, it's about respect and about freedom,
absolutely.
and
Yes.
I like it. And about the cover art,
Yeah.
uh, it's very beautiful. In my opinion, the most beautiful of the discography. Does the band decide anything about the cover art?
Absolutely. It's actually my girlfriend who made the cover. So it's yeah. I guess I had to promote her as well. Her name is Jo. Georgia Carteri Artworks, and so she's done a terrific job, I think. And I've been there the whole time when she's been working on it, and I had this idea to sort of continue on the path what we did with Aromantic One, which showcases a lot of strong women in the airline world or airline business, and there's a lot of pictures, so I wanted to continue on that path, and it almost looks like it could be Amelia Earhart, on the cover, but it's not. We found this picture and I thought it was beautiful and very strong, and you see her sort of cape flying in the wind, and we wanted to put her in the desert as well. And I'm really happy about the result as well. I think she did really well, and people really seem to like it. So I'll let her know that you really like it and you think it's the best so far. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Bjorn, the band's lineup seems a big team of musicians. How was it bringing to the band Charlie D'Angelo from Merciful Fate and the drummer from Arch Enemy? And how it's for you to play with these musicians?
I mean, it's a great bunch of musicians, and when it all started with me and David being on tour with Soilwork in I think it was 2007, and we decided to create a band that captures the late 70s and early 80s music, and also to create a soundtrack of being in motion and being on tour. And then we started thinking, like, who can we bring into this band? Who do we know that sort of likes this era and can master it? And Charlie D'Angelo is a man with many surprises. He's a brilliant bass player, and we see him play bass in Arch Enemy, and he's been playing with Merciful Fate, as you say. But he can also play a mean disco bass. So it's as we can hear, he's a big ABBA fan as well. So you can hear the ghost of ABBA, and Rutger Gunnarsson, the bass player from ABBA. So you can definitely hear the influences, and he's doing a fantastic job. So that was, we knew he had something, and he liked this kind of music. And when we got together the first time, it was like mind blown. It was fantastic. And all the rest of the people, like Jonas, is a childhood friend of David's that I didn't know since before. He's like fantastic, sort of. He has the Porcaro Toto chops as well on the drums, and then Sebastian coming into the band as well. He's our mixing guy. He's mixing all of our albums. He plays guitar. He plays percussion. He's a fantastic drummer as well. He's one of those people that it's just crazy. Whatever position in the band you put him, he can pull it off. So it's a really great band. And then the airline Annas coming into the band as well. At a later point, they brought us even to a higher level in having like female backup vocals as well. It's something that you don't see very often in today's rock music. Even Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue had backup girl singers back in the day, like late 80s or early 90s. So it's something that we wanted to bring a real rock show the way it was meant to be. So after they joined as well, I think we have had the perfect lineup. And also John Lundmil joining the band already on the previous touring cycle for Aromantic One, even though it was very short. He joined for real and was composing with the rest of us, for this album, that ended up being Aromantic 2. So it's a very solid lineup, and many people are quite surprised, like that we come from the metal world, and get together and do something like this. It could have failed miserably, but it turned into something very, very good, I think. And there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of passion, and I think we feel very liberated being in this band and doing something completely different.
And does someone take the band leadership?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Someone take the band leadership? Someone is the leader of the band?
Oh, nah. I mean, me and David started the band, so I mean, I guess we're the driving force behind it. But it's a very democratic band, and I mean, it's the same. I'm one of the few original members in Soilwork as well, and by no means I'm not typical leader, but I'm good at inspiring people, and I'm good at being the driving force. And I think I want to be in a band that's it's good with leadership, but it's also good with democracy within the band to a certain point.
Okay, and the
Mm.
band makes nostalgic sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do you think that the present and the future of the world are so threatening that people are increasingly interested in the past, in a feeling of nostalgia?
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it. People rather look back to a time where there were no troubles, which is not never really true. You always tend to romanticize certain things. It's like, oh, it used to be so good, there was no problems, but it was just different, and you tend to forget about the bad things too. But I understand. I think that's definitely something that we're bringing with this band. The nostalgia factor, that people can sort of connect to their childhood. Growing up with this kind of music, but at the same time, people also expressed as like, wow, this is, I didn't even know that I missed this kind of music. And it sounds so old, but it sounds so refreshing. So it's like there's got to be something that feels new as well. So it's not a pure nostalgia act. And I think it's also, we're carrying a legacy, a way of writing songs, a way of producing songs, a way of um, you know uh, performing songs that has been lost, for a long time. It has a very organic sound without becoming boring, and it's quite glittery and and sort of shameless in that sense. And I think that's what people really like. They like that it's very authentic and it's very sincere. Even though we have this whole tongue-in-cheek concept around it as well, we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we want to bring a real show and real songwriting, real songs, that will stand the test of time.
Okay. And
Mm.
Björn, in the early 2000s, I remember Rob Halford telling everyone how much he loved his voice and your singing style.
Mm.
How do you feel being recognized as a great singer by the metal god?
Well, I mean, that's just simply amazing. I remember when I read that, because somebody told me, "Oh, have you seen that Rob Halford is talking about you in this Belgian metal magazine?" It's like, "What? No, no. What, are you crazy? No, come on." It's like, and he managed to, I don't know, he picked it up somewhere, and then I got to read it, and I just lost it. I just, can I take the magazine with me home? And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just went straight home, and I like cried for 2 hours because it was so overwhelming and so amazing, because he was, still is one of my absolute, vocal heroes. And yeah, it was just surreal, to read that. It's like he's talking about my band, he's talking about my voice. This is just nuts. So wow, yeah, absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
he's still going strong too. That's very impressive.
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, Rob Halford is the
Yes,
singer of heavy metal. Yeah.
absolutely.
And and talking about soil work, Bjorn, how your bandmates viewed your participation in the Night Flight Orchestra?
Well, they don't mind it at all. I mean, they realized pretty quickly that this is something that we, both me and David, really wanted to do, and that we maybe wanted needed to do it, in order to be able to do soil work. I think we needed to. I guess it was a little bit of, without sounding too pretentious, a little bit of a yin and yang situation, where we needed to feel a bit more sort of balanced musically, and then now we both feel that we have the best of both worlds, and the guys in Soulwork, they really dig what we do with the Night Flight Orchestra as well, and they respect it very much. And we try to divide the touring cycles, and the album cycles. We don't collide, and it's not always easy, but we try to make it work.
And Bjorn, about the next plans of the Night Flight Orchestra, um, are you thinking in keeping the theme of the air, the great airplane, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so much fun, and I mean, we can develop this concept. We can take it very far, I think. If we had a stage that was big enough, we could bring a 747 on stage and make a nice entrance. I doubt that's going to happen, but there's so many things you can do about it, and you can create a great live show around this theme that we're having, this concept. So it's definitely something that we are going to continue with. People need to escape. Not only through the music, also when you sort of watch us live. I think it just enhances the whole thing.
And what's the importance of work with the Nuclear Blast Records for a pop band like the Night Flight Orchestra?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. I think they were really cool that they signed the band. I think it was a brave move, because they're a metal label mostly, and I think we reached a lot of metal fans through the label, and we've also reached people outside the metal world as well. There's a lot of people coming to the shows who doesn't know what Soilwork or Arch is, so that's pretty cool. And I think they've done a really, really good job, and I think a lot of metal fans got very curious to see. It's like, what is this? What is this band that members from Arch Enemy and Soilwork are creating? It looks very different. Like it must sound. If it was just like a metal project, I don't think people would have been that curious. But they saw that this is something completely different. So I think we gain a lot of fans that normally would not listen to this kind of music, and those are pretty much the people who sometimes express that Night Flight Orchestra is like a guilty pleasure band, that they normally listen to. I only listen to black metal, but I can't deny this band is fantastic. It's like, it's my guilty pleasure. Okay, I give up, so that's cool. Whatever works.
Yeah, that's cool. And what's the next plans for the Night Flight Orchestra and for Soilwork?
Well, we have some tours lined up, but we don't know if it's going to happen this fall. So I think it's more realistic to, that we will be able to tour in the beginning of next year or in the spring. And we also have a Soilwork album that's almost finished. So there's that as well. We've been extremely creative during this 1.5 year. There hasn't been much else you could have done. So it's. Yeah, but I mean, we haven't missed that much with Soilwork since our touring cycle was done anyway. By the time that Corona hit, we missed a lot of stuff with the Night Flight Orchestra. So hopefully we can, make up for it next year, and hopefully we also can do a South American tour. That would have been absolutely amazing, and we're getting so much response from South America right now. I've been doing a lot of press, and
vamos ver aqui, parece que deu algum problema de conexão. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Can you see me? That's okay?
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, Björn, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
And feel free to leave a message to the Brazilian fans.
Yes. Well, I was beginning to talk about like doing a tour in South America. Please spread the word about the Night Flight Orchestra to your friends, and call your radio stations and make them play Night Flight Orchestra. And we're going to work hard at putting a tour together. And we're looking forward to see you people dance and do a conga train with us. I've seen a lot of headbanging in mosh pits before, but now I would like to see you dance. So hopefully we could see you soon. So thanks for spreading the word.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for your time. And as soon as possible, I hope to see you in São Paulo with Soilwork, with the Night Flight Orchestra. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.